This is K1DBC. All stations please stand by. The Denver Radio Club Learning Net starts in approximately 5 minutes.
0TX repeater.
Crews are dealing with a crash. Sounds like there's one in both directions, east and west.
It looks like maybe a big rig involved in this crash as well.
So a crash yesterday, not the first time it's happened this year.
A semi-truck with a lot of debris.
I-70 through Glenwood Canyon has been closed 197 times just from crashing.
Copy, 728.
I got 2 on the high.
So right now we're in Cinnamon Creek Complex. This complex is right inside Hanging Lake Tunnels. My name is Trevor Allen. I'm the LTC ops here. It's actually, a 4-story building that's in here that we have operations out of here. The number one thing is definitely anything that's inside the tunnels. That's our primary. And then secondary is anything that's out like in the canyon. The biggest thing that what it's here for is fire life safety. Grizzly Creek fire that day, it happened. It was, took off. It started up the hillside and it was quick. It was very dry.
The Grizzly Creek fire, it's called, went from just 50 acres to more than 1,300 acres in the span of just a few hours.
I think it was like 20 days, basically just nothing but just dealing with fire and smoke within the canyon and a closed road. When we had the fires, we had the mudslides. A lot of 16-hour days, a lot of really long days that our crews had to deal with. My job was very rewarding. It's something new. We wear a lot of hats. One day we may be working on the tunnel. The next day we're actually responding to a fire.
We have a Jeep up against the wall.
Copy. Eastbound 6 at Watts. I'm en route.
My name is Tim Durst. My role is safety patrol with CDOT, so drive up and down the highways, respond to motorists that are broken down on the side of the road, or respond to accidents that are blocking lane of travels, as well as stalled vehicles.
The best thing I love about my route is the people that I work with are definitely great. My tow partner is absolutely phenomenal. People don't necessarily see it so much as dangerous, but we definitely do. And so it's nice to be able to have someone, that's sure listening to the radio, willing to work, always has my back.
Take a look at this crash, eastbound 6th Avenue at Wadsworth. Yeah, pretty wild looking crash here. That one vehicle, it looks like a Jeep, is on the center barrier.
So for us, that type of incident is what we're going to consider a major crash. Multiple vehicles involved. It was a 5-vehicle accident. We'll get our initial report from dispatch that just says, hey, there's a crash here. These lanes are being blocked. Kind of gives us a general picture in our heads for what we kind of expect. But of course, the biggest thing once we get there is getting those cones up, being able to get the scene safe, as well as getting traffic moved over a safe and efficient way, as well as keeping the best of the flow that we can.
Go ahead, 19.
You have a private tow en route.
It's just super rewarding knowing they were in a stressful situation, sitting on I-25 with traffic blowing past them 80 miles per hour, to now me assisting them, being able to block traffic to get them back in traffic, and then them being able to go on their way and no longer have to sit there and pray and hope someone's not paying attention and doesn't rear end them and, potentially end their life that day.
This is K1DBC. All stations please stand by. The Denver Radio Club Learning Net starts in approximately 1 minute. Hello, and welcome back to the Denver Radio Club Learning It for November 12th, 2025. It's a great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics in general, and thankfully we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. This is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie. My name is Doron. I'm this evening's net control. Tonight we'll be taking your comments, questions, check-ins, updates, and more. We meet every Wednesday except the third Wednesday of the month, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time on 145.490 and 448.625. Both have a negative offset. You can contact us via Elmer at w0tx.org and on most social media at Denver Radio Club. We also stream and archive our nets on youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. So if you'd like to see behind the scenes of the net or visual context, or you're unable to make our repeaters, that's an additional way to participate in the net. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? All check-ins to the net will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. The suffix is the first letter after the number in the call sign. If you can, please try to use ITU phonetics, for your call sign at least, and indicate if you have any traffic or questions as you check in. If you'd like, you can follow along with the check-ins at w0tx.org/check-in. With that, if your suffix begins with letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now. This is K1 DBC Net Control. As the year comes to a close, our nets do get a little bit shorter and a little bit quieter, and that's all right. With that, one more time, if your call suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, and you'd like to check in, let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic questions, A through M, Alpha through Mike, please call now. Okay, we'll open up to the whole alphabet then. We're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. We just had a check-in online, KD0CGF, got you checked in here. But we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, please call now.
Kilo Echo 0, Sierra Uniform Mike, hi drone.
November 0, Quebec Oscar, Oscar, Earl, Wheat Ridge, no traffic.
Kilo 4, Romeo November Yankee, Ronnie and Thornton, no traffic. Kilo Echo 0, Sierra Uniform Mike, oh, I see you got me, never mind.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome the knowledge of the following check-ins. Again, we had Kenny checking in online, KD0CGF, and then we had Jonathan, KE0SUM, got you checked in, and N0QOO, DeLuise, and K4RNY, Ronnie. Thank you all so much for checking in. If there's anyone else who'd like to check in just for the count, or if you have any traffic or questions, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Please call now.
November 0, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control over the air. We had N0TRP. Jim, appreciate that. And online, we had K0BF. Dustin checking in online. Really do appreciate that. If there's anybody else who'd like to check in, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes, just for the count, or if you have any traffic or questions for this evening's Learning Net, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu, please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. As mentioned, as we come to the end of the year, it does get a little bit quieter, and that's not a problem at all. As Net Control operators, we certainly appreciate a little bit of a break here now and then. With that, though, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. If you'd like to check in to the Denver Radio Club Learning Net just for the count, or if you have any traffic or questions, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Please call now. Okay, nothing heard at the moment. We'll take check-ins throughout the net. This is about an hour-long net. Again, general Q&A about ham radio and STEM topics. I don't see anybody indicated they had any traffic just yet, but I don't have that much this evening either. Just a few updates for the club and just some other things. But with that, any other check-ins, comments, questions, anything else so far for this evening's Learning Net? A through Z, Alpha through Zulu, or if you have any comments or questions for anybody else who's checked in, please call now.
And KE0SUM question.
Yeah, Jonathan, KE0SUM, go ahead.
Well, it's kind of quiet. I watch you on the YouTube so I can see the check-ins, and anymore there's quite a few familiar voices. So you've got like a range of 4 generals and 4 extras on the air tonight. So they don't have mic fright, they checked in. So I want to hear their response. Do they usually do just VHF, HF, or how many people actually do digital on a regular basis? Now, myself, I've played with digital a little over the years, and I keep up on it because I sell radios. But, no, I just never enjoyed digital. I've always done, well, right from technician general for me was, let's get on the air and talk around the world, which you can do with digital, but I don't consider that true radio. Wonder if anybody has any comments. Back to that.
Great question there. Yeah, usage for digital radio or analog or voice. Does anybody have comments or questions on that? I know a lot of the digital FT8 modes, JS8 call, those are quite popular, and especially for QRP. Yeah, does anybody have comments or questions on that? HF voice, single sideband versus digital modes. Does anybody have preferences or have an opinion? Either way, go ahead.
Comment K4RNY.
Yeah, Ronnie, K4RNY. Go ahead.
I usually do digital at the house because I kind of got a noise floor here, and I can get out that way. But when I'm out in the field, I'm always on sideband. So I kind of do a little bit of both. K4RNY.
Oh, Ronnie, what digital mode do you like using?
lot of FT8, FT4. I'm want to branch into some of the other ones just to play around with them and stuff like that. Occasionally, I'll take my laptop out if I'm trying to get like a hard band, like maybe 80 meters or something like that, out in the parks, so I get that band for that park. I might do that every once in a while. I don't do many of them, though.
Well, I think my question actually was misunderstood. When I say digital modes, I'm talking VHF digital modes. How many people do Wires X, D-Star, etc.? Because a lot of VHF radios include that. And I didn't know how many people actually actively use those digital modes down in more like the VHF band.
I use some of the DMR repeaters. I try to get on Colorado HD, which is on. There's a repeater down off Golden. There's one from Fort Collins that I can usually hit from the house. That's kind of my extent to it. I do have a couple of hotspots I use occasionally, but usually I'm kind of just doing it out from the car from a handheld K4RNY.
Oh, one more question for you there is, what handheld do you use for that?
I've got a Motorola 7550 usually always have with me. I use that one. I do for my hotspots, I have a old Connect Systems 750 that works better with the hotspots.
Thank you. KE0SUM, back to net.
All right, appreciate the follow-up on that, both of you there. And yeah, I did misunderstand that. Yes, analog radio versus Wires X, D-Star, Brandmeister. As we've mentioned in the past, some people may not consider that true radio since it does use internet connection. But I've also heard the terminology of gatekeeping. So I guess let's not try to. And I don't think that's what was occurring here, but DMR Brandmeister, as we've mentioned in the past, looking at their website, there's a total of 20,000 hotspots and 7,500 repeaters for that at least. So it's pretty popular, I would say at least, on some of those modes. So anyone else though, go right ahead.
0TX repeater.
Let's see, we had a comment online from K0BF saying he's not in the same boat. Not the same to make contact on DMR talk group than it is on HF voice. As for FT8 and such, it's just another tool in a bag of tools to use. So doesn't think it's the same to make a contact on DMR than it is on HF voice. And probably there is no comparison when running a true RF over the horizon compared to a internet connected radio that all that you need is just a local internet connection. So definitely a different connection, but still worthwhile. So anyone else though on that, go right ahead. All right, it's 7:45 p.m. Mountain Time. We have plenty of time here still. 45 minutes still left in the Learning Net this evening. Might be a little bit of a quiet evening, but if anybody else has any other comments, questions, check-ins, or anything else, we're taking all check-ins, all comments, questions, everyone. If anybody has any comments or questions, please call now.
Katie Zero CGF with a comment.
November 1, Zulu Tango Tango, Dan from Montbello.
All right, this is K1DBC. We had checking in N1ZTT, got you checked in. And then we had Kenny, KD0CGF, with comment. Go ahead, the net is yours.
Good evening, everyone. So, one of the things talking about FT8 and the digital modes made me think of it. Last week, I completed all districts' work of Japan using the FT8 mode. Granted, when I completed it, I went through EQSL to get the certificate, but I researched it. Researched a little bit more and found out Japan has their version of the ARRL called JARL, and then they had a JARL award program. And I was looking, and I sent an email off and a request there seeing if I could apply for a certificate from Japan. And they did approve it, so I'm still waiting on it coming into the mail. But it will be an all districts work certificate with a bit of the Japanese language on there, which I thought was just cool as can be. This is KD0CGF, back to net.
SUM for you. How long ago did you get into FT8?
I got an FT8. Oh, geez. I know it was I think it was a couple years after my father got into it, and I think I've been working FT8 ever since I got my general. Yeah, well, I've only been working FT8 ever since I got my general. But I'm drawing a blank of when I got my general class. Jerome's got it on his cheat sheet. But that's how long I've been working it.
So FT8 contact people usually know. So how many contacts have you made over the years? I worked down at HRO and I used to work with a guy he said he had 30,000.
In total, since I've had my license, I've made over 565 contacts, and it's only been about a year before I got my general class is when I really started getting more active, mainly with the local nets. And then when I got my general class is when everything kind of flourished. Let me see if I can't do some research here on QRZ, and I can certainly tell you how many digital contacts I've made.
So then I have one more question, because how often do you get on HF? How many contacts have you done at that? Do you do any contesting or POTA or anything?
I do, and I actually recently just made a video of that. I've been getting back into the swing of the YouTube thing finally. But early in the morning, I worked FT8 for probably about an hour. Made a couple of contacts because my next progression task is trying to get all the provinces of Canada, and either by voice or FT8. But, you know, FT8's great, but when I went over to voice, I found it to be more enjoyable. I picked up a station, I believe, out of Arizona that was a POTA station, and I would go onto the POTA website, and I'd find out where the stations were at, and I would try to make contact with them, or with a couple of them. The only thing that, let me drop for a minute. And Daron, if you go about 3/4 of the way through it, you'll actually hear the sideband conversations. But the one thing I have trouble with, especially on working POTA as a hunter, is getting in there and trying to make sure I'm not walking over anybody. It's kind of one of my fears in a way. I really worry about if I step over somebody, and I really don't want to, because I want to be, what's the word, polite? I know there's another word for it, but just be respectful. There we go. I'm just trying to be respectful to everybody on the air.
Well, I agree with you, especially about voice being much more enjoyable. And yeah, you do it the right way. We have the POTA app, and you see Saturday down at the store, it was so slow, but we all just moved over to the big radios and chased POTA a lot of the afternoon, because, well, we've got unlimited radios and a big Yagi, so no, that's the way you're supposed to do it. I just find voice so much more interesting.
Hoping it's not too loud for you guys.
W0TX repeater.
Excellent. Really do appreciate everyone's follow-up there. And KD0CGF, really do appreciate that. And if anybody's interested, you can check out Kenny's YouTube page. I think KD0CGF or VADA Fox, and a recent video here from the 9th of November, working ham radio FT8 single sideband. So just scrabbling through that. Really appreciate that. Really awesome to see here. And then we had Ronnie, K4RNY, I think. Go ahead.
One thing I like voice over FT8, and I do like FT8, I think it's fun too, but you know, when I'm out working a park or something like that, and with FT8 you can see what's out there, but it's a fun surprise when you get that DX station just pop in from Europe or Australia or Japan. You know, I've had that happen a few times, and it just happens. K4RNY. That is true, very, very true. And Jonathan, I believe, so I just did the filters on QRZ, and it looks like I have made 520 contacts on FT8 so far. And I don't know, let me see here, if I click this, my oldest contact on FT8 was from 2024.
Yeah, I really love your YouTube. But also, Ronnie, I was thinking, you know, you just never know what's going to come in on anything, because I did a POTA a few months ago with a friend of mine at Chatfield, and at the end of the day, we moved to 17 meters because there was like a contest. Oh, there was a DX contest going on. But all of a sudden, at the last minute of the day, a guy called in from southern Argentina. Well, I was pretty impressed. So I guess all of them have their uses, but it's much more exciting to hear a person come in and come back with his call sign.
Yeah, Jonathan, I really have to agree. I run about 50 watts when I'm out in the field, and seeing how far that can get, it's a lot of fun. K4RNY.
I've become kind of a QRP fan, but lately I just take out the G90, which does 20 watts, which, there's not a huge signal difference between 20 watts and 100, is there?
No, just a few dB. I really haven't noticed that much. I've tried to play around with it, see what would happen and stuff. And usually when I'm, a little drop my power a little bit, I really don't hear that much of a difference. Or nobody reports that much of a difference. K4RNY.
Well, my first HF radio was an 890 FT891 Yaesu, and I still have it, but the thing with the G90, once I got that, and with all the features it has between antenna tuning, SWR, everything else, I'm actually thinking, the 891's been a Harbor Freight case for the last few years. I'm thinking of selling it.
Yeah, actually, I have an 891. That's my only 8. Well, I've got a old Kenwood I'm trying to fix up as 430. But yeah, all my contacts have been through that 891, and I love that little radio.
Oh, I loved it for several years. I still have it. But the thing is, the 891 weighs like 6-some pounds, and you need a battery. Whereas the IGU G90, yes, you need a battery, but you can use a much smaller one, and it's probably half the weight, and it's so small. Yeah, it's really good for, like, photo work.
I got a comment for you, too. Did they make a radio that operated on one 9-volt battery at one point?
I had some walkie-talkies that did that. Elaborate, please.
Oh, I saw it at one of the Hamfest one time. It was an HF radio, and I don't remember what they had it running on, but I could have sworn they had it running on a 9-volt battery. It might have actually been a couple of batteries in it, but it was something else to look at. I don't remember if it was an ICOM or I think it was an ICOM radio, or it might have been a Kenwood. But yeah, this was probably about maybe 8-10 years ago.
I'm going to look that up here on the mighty Google because, wow, an HF radio, I mean, how many watts? I got to research that a little bit. On 9-volt batteries, even if you had a couple of them, that just seems so unlikely that it would last very long. KE0SUM, back to net.
That is one I don't remember. K4RNY, back to net.
KD0CGF. Yeah, it was a hard one to remember, but I'll say KD0CGF, back to net.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, maybe some QRP rig potentially, but out of the 9 volts, you might not be getting that much power. But yeah, definitely in serial or parallel, I'm not too sure. But yeah, if you do remember, let us know. That'd be interesting to know. I guess very quickly on 9-volt batteries, I think I heard a story in the news recently of some chip manufacturer, as in potato chips, making a potato chip taste like, I think, the the contacts of a battery when you used to put your tongue to them back in the day. So just an aside, this is K1 DBC Net Control. It's 8 p.m. Mountain Time. Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins? I can take check-ins here in just a minute, but anyone else? Please call now.
Well, it does look like there's a 9-volt battery by BioEno Powerhouse, but it hasn't shown me a radio yet. And it's a nice-looking battery.
Comment, K4RNY.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, looks like they do have a 9-volt, 3-amp-hour battery with some Anderson power pole connectors on there, about $40. RNY, go right ahead.
Jerome, I have to ask, where do you get the potato chips that taste like when we stuck our tongues on the batteries when we were kids? K4RNY, I've got to know.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. It was probably on a podcast that I heard from some European person, but I'll have to see if I can find it. But if you Google 9-volt battery or potato chips 9-volt battery, you'll see a few stories coming up here. So it may be just a meme, may not be absolutely true, but looks like there's a few articles. Chip company called Rewind. So the 9-volt battery, I guess. 9-volt battery flavored corn chips. Limited edition flavor comes from Rewind, a new brand launching in Europe, starting with the Netherlands, promising to blend nostalgia with exciting flavors. So might not be able to get it here in the United States, but it's been a while since licked a battery. So in the name of science, bought my own. So licking a 9-volt battery is probably safe, though they do not condone it. So probably you won't find that here, and you might have to ship it overseas. But there you go. This is K1 DBC Net Control.
9-volt tasting chips. So let me think. I remember the first time I touched my tongue to a 9-volt battery. I was outside of a Dairy Queen, and a friend was standing there, and he dared me to do it. And, I fell for it. And the same friend tricked me again. He had me bite down on aluminum gum foil. But why would I want to buy this? SUM back to net.
Yeah, great question. I don't know why someone would want to buy this. Just maybe for nostalgia. And if you do Google 9-volt battery taste, apparently Google's AI says licking a 9-volt creates a tingling, sour, and metallic taste due to a chemical reaction called electrolysis that happens when the electrical current passes through the moisture on your tongue. This reaction produces hydrogen ions, which trigger sour taste receptors and a small electrical current that also directly stimulates taste buds and nerves, creating the sensation of a jolt or zing. While the taste is generally considered unpleasant and should be avoided due to the risk of electrical shock, it's described as tingly, sour, metallic, and copper as a copper penny. So, yeah, you probably all are old enough to remember this, but why you'd want to do this, I don't know. Probably just for nostalgia. So, this is K1 DBC Net Control. A lot of things in the hacker world you do just because you can. With that, I'll throw it over to anyone else. Comments, questions, check-ins. Go right ahead.
KD0CGF. See, I used to stick the 9-volt to my tongue when I couldn't find a voltmeter to test if they were good or not. You know, smoke detector, you test it every once in a while, but, you know, you walk up to it, or even the battery in a TV remote back in the day when they ran the 9 volts. Take it out, stick it in your tongue, you got voltage, plop it back in, and it works. I don't know, it always worked for me. KD0CGF, back to net.
Yeah, I did the same thing when I was a kid, making sure my batteries work and stuff. I'm wondering if those potato chips we can hook up some Anderson power poles and actually get some power to a radio or something. K4RY.
Voltmeter until I went to college.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. We had a little bit of a double there. But yeah, as mentioned, mostly people would do that just for testing it. If back in the day you didn't have a multimeter, it would be just a great way just to test to see if there's at least some current left in the battery, which is kind of an odd thing. But yeah, we had Ronnie and then Jonathan SUM. Really do appreciate you guys checking in on that. So anyone else, though? And I might just take this opportunity. I'll take check-ins here in just a minute. But anyone else on 9-volt battery taste testing or anything else that we've spoken about so far, go right ahead. All right. This is K1 DBC Net Control. I'll just take this opportunity if you've just tuned in. This is the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. Great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics. If you'd like to check in, we're taking all comments, or we're taking all check-ins, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Let us know your call sign, your name. And if you have any traffic or questions, A through Z, please call now.
Alpha Delta Zero Uniform Zulu, AD0UZ, Brennan, mobile, just checking in.
All right, AD0UZ, Brennan, got you checked in. Thank you so much for checking in here. If there's anybody else who'd like to check in at the moment, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, please call now. All right, do appreciate everybody who's checked in so far and been able to keep this net running. Do appreciate that. We still have another 20 minutes or so. If anybody else has any other further comments, questions, check-ins, anything else that we've spoken about or anything else you'd like to bring up, please call now.
KD0CGF with a question.
Yeah, Kenny, KD0CGF with the question. The net is yours.
Well, Duran, I think I might put you on the spot with this one. So you had the solar weather page up for your, I forget what you called it, but showing a bit of the solar weather. Sunspot cycles, or the sunspots, like the solar index, I guess is what I'm referring to. When I haven't looked it up in a little bit, my mind did lapse. What would be a good solar index to work the bands? Like, it would be a high, or would it be a low? Or how would you determine that for the solar weather report? KD0CGF, back to net.
Great question there. Yeah, and solar weather has always eluded me as well. Solar index can refer to different measures, so good depends on context. A high, UV index is good for sun exposure. If you're looking for sunshine, this is not a great explanation here. I don't have a great answer to that, so I'll throw it out to the group here. Solar indices. Does anybody have a good understanding of that? I can go through maybe an article here that was posted on, I think, maybe QRZ or QST magazine. But solar indexes, high or low, what is better? If anybody has a better explanation or an explanation, go right ahead.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. SUM.
Yeah, Jonathan, please go right ahead. SUM.
So my understanding is like yesterday's K9, which was a severe solar storm. So the lower the K number, the better you're going to get around the planet. Now, I think there's other factors. I'm not an expert in this subject by any means, but pretty sure you don't want a high K value. Now, I look up on QRZ, they have, once you pop it up, there's on the right-hand side, the solar, everything going on. It'll tell you what the bands are open or closed, but it'll also give you all these other numbers that, over trial and error, I've kind of learned. So back to that.
Appreciate that, Jonathan. This is a K1 DBC Net Control. Another from Google Gemini says for radio, a high solar flux index is generally good for long distance HF communications, while a low index is better for lower HF bands. Conversely, a low A or K index is good for radio propagation because it indicates stable, quiet geomagnetic conditions, while a high A or K index is bad as it can cause disruptions like blackouts and noise. And as mentioned, over on QRZ or hamqsl.com has more information on that as well. So CGF or anyone else on that, go ahead. Let's see, we had a couple of comments in here from chat K0BF. Dustin, really do appreciate that. Let me see here. He's saying K index is like a warning happening now. A index is like a watch it could happen. The higher the KP index or A index is, the worse the bands are. So yeah, good reiteration on that. Really do appreciate that. And I guess talking about solar weather, obviously in the news here we had some aurora geomagnetic storms or solar storms, and aurora borealis was able to be seen throughout night skies last night. So anyone else on that, or solar weather indexes or anything else, CGF or anyone else? We have another 15 minutes or so. Please call now.
Katie Zara, CGF. That actually brings up another question, the aurora borealis. Granted, I missed it last night, which was a bummer. I did notice the coloration in the sky from aurora, but with all the light pollution, it would have been, I feel like it would have been hard for me to see where I was. But did anybody last night, by any chance, work HF and was able to bounce their signal off the aurora? This is Katie Zero, CGF, back to net.
SUM coming.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. If nobody's seen the movie The Frequency, which I'm pretty sure people have, it just reminded me of that. But working during Aurora Borealis, that'd be kind of interesting. SUM, Jonathan, go right ahead.
Well, once you have a magnetic storm on the sun coming into the Earth's atmosphere, it'll disrupt all the ions, electrons, I don't know, all kinds of things. But yeah, the ban conditions probably would not have allowed you to operate HF yesterday. It was kind of a blackout situation. I would be curious to know if anybody actually did it. I actually stayed off HF for that exact reason.
N1 ZTT.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, over on Google Gemini, it says auroras can affect ham radio by causing disruptions to long-distance communication, but it can also be used for communication, known as auroral propagation. This technique involves bouncing radio signals off the ionized particles of the aurora to communicate with stations within a certain range. Auroral propagation can cause characteristics fluttery or bubbly sounds on the radio. We also had N1ZTT. Go right ahead.
So this is Dan, N1ZTT. On the AWRL website, I found a interesting 3-page article about understanding solar indices. So it might be worth a look or download to read. I'm not sure. It was September 2002, started on page 38. I just thought maybe somebody would find that interesting. Back to that.
Perfect. Appreciate that. Yeah, if you do a Google search for ARL Solar Index, there is a PDF file from the 2002 QST magazine, Understanding Solar Indices. It is a few pages long, and it will probably have a lot more information on solar indexes here. So just very quickly, they say when someone tells you that the flux is up to 200 and the K is 3, do you know what they are talking about? You will after reading this article. Just the first paragraph, one of the key skills for any HFDXer is to know how to judge what band conditions may be like. Conditions may be excellent one day, with many stations audible from all over the world, but a few days later, it may be that only a few stations are audible. To be able to gain an idea about conditions, 3 main indices are used: solar flux and the AP and KP indices. A good working knowledge of what these numbers represent and what they mean is an advantage, even for the ham with most well-equipped station. So yeah, really do appreciate that from 2002. It looks like it's publicly available. Anyone else on that or anything else? Please call now.
My question, SUM.
Yeah, Jonathan, SUM, the net is yours.
Well, the question's actually for Dan, N1TZZ. So, he's both a photographer and an astronomer, besides being a ham radio operator. Did you get out and get any photos last night, Dan?
I did not. I was out looking around, and all I got was a cloudy sky here, which I think is what I have again tonight. But I don't know if I'm going to go check it out again tonight, but I would definitely love to get a shot of that. Yeah, it was just fantastic. Because I have yet to ever witness, even as an amateur astronomer for 40 years, solar lights. So there you are. N1ZCT, back to net.
Well, we both keep looking, but yeah, tonight's too cloudy. I went out earlier, but too cloudy here for that.
My brother, my son-in-law, yeah, I'll get this right yet. My nephew, he got some interesting pictures. He lives down in Colorado Springs. He got some good pictures of some reds and greens coming up from the north. Maybe I can share them. I'll have to talk to him. NZ1ZCT, back to net.
But Dan, I was just talking to my friend who grew up in Pennsylvania, and he was saying how they used to go out and look at them where they'd shimmer in the sky. He'd seen them a lot of times. Aren't you from Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I'm from southeastern Pennsylvania, down around the Philly area. But I guess it has happened there a couple of times. I don't see it all the time, though. Not where I was. I was the 40th parallel, so sometimes it doesn't always come down that far.
Thanks, Dan. SUM back to net.
Excellent. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Very quickly, a couple things here. Aurora Borealis and certain lights and lights like that oftentimes are gray to the human eye, the naked eye, because digital cameras can see it, though, because they're more sensitive to light and can use longer exposure times, allowing them to capture colors like red and purple that are often invisible or very faint to the human eye. And then we also had K0BF. Really do appreciate that. If you look up on his QRZ page, you can find a link to his YouTube page, Ham Radio with K0BF. It looks like he has taken a time lapse of the October 11th Borealis. So very, very cool stuff here. So anyone else? We have another 8 or so minutes. There was a couple of other comments or questions in the YouTube chat about recent tech fests and whatnot, but anyone else on this or anything else so far, please call there. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Let's see. Also, was asked about the 285 Tech Connect Fest. If anybody attended that or had any follow up on that, looks like on their official 285 Tech Connect Radio NA0TC YouTube page, they have a couple of videos up there so far. One by Mark K0EHR and the other by Rob Sherwood NC0B. So if anybody attended that or attended it remotely or in person or anything, have anything on that, go right ahead.
Well, Daron, it was well attended. I didn't get to go. I was working, but apparently they had 55 people show up for the demonstrations or talks that were going on. And so, I mean, 55 ham radio operators getting together, that's pretty good. I mean, you only do better with a tech fest. But, yeah, I think it was well attended. The only complaint I heard was they ordered Jimmy John's, but they had to do it manually, and it took a long time to get. But there are worse things that could happen. But I understand it was quite the success. I missed that Mark Ayer was doing a presentation, which now I've talked to people about how he did it and so forth, but it was like how to learn DMR in 20 minutes. He just did it with it like a disposable phone. Thought that was interesting. KE0SUM, back to net.
Excellent. Really do appreciate follow up on that. Yeah, that's a good amount of attendance there. And as they say, have 55 ham radio operators and 55 different opinions. But that is awesome to hear. And sometimes there's some issues with ordering food and some things like that. But yeah, there are worse things. Yeah, and if you did miss that, at least that's one of the presentations they do have up on their website by Mark K0EHR. Get on DMR in 20 minutes. For $40. So a 33-minute presentation. Pretty cool stuff here. So yeah, as mentioned, it looks like there's some phone apps being used. So Droid Star So yeah, very cool stuff. Yeah. Anyone else on that or anything else? We have another 5 or so minutes. Please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Appreciate everyone who's checked in here so far this evening. Again, it's been a pretty quiet net, but that's all right. It is like that during the end of the year. We have another 5 or so minutes. Been great great topics brought up here so far. Really do appreciate everyone checking in and chiming in. So yeah, another 5 or so minutes. Comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far? Please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Let's see. I can't thank enough Brennan Pate, who checked in here earlier, AD0UZ. He is in charge of the roundtable. He is our roundtable editor, so I can't thank him enough for putting that together constantly. So if anybody's interested in helping with that, there is always opportunities for doing that. So recent roundtable from the 1st of November, you'll find on our website. And as well as upcoming presentation for next week is going to be the 19th, restoring a 60-year-old Swan 500C transceiver by Bob Mesenbrink, NB0BN. It'll be hybrid, so it'll be in person at the Lakewood Police Department and also online. So check out more information on our club website, W0TX, for more information on that. Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins? We have another few minutes for this evening's Learning Net. Please call now. Let's see, maybe just a couple of things to wrap things up, and then we'll close out the net. But let's see here over on KDVR.com from the 7th of November. Local news here. No more World War II howitzers. The Colorado Department of Transportation revamps avalanche control system. Every year, avalanches in Colorado threatens lives and impact travel. So the Colorado CDOT, Colorado Department of Transportation, developed a system that uses artillery to ensure avalanches don't cover major high roads. But this year, they're revamping the system to no longer use World War II era artillery to clear possible avalanches from the east side of Eisenhower Johnson Memorial Tunnels along I-70. They will now use a Wyson avalanche control system to perform avalanche mitigation work. This technology represents a major advantage in how we keep I-70 open and safe during Colorado's harsh winter storms, says Brian Gorsage, CDOT's avalanche program manager. In a release, remote avalanche control systems allow our teams to work more safely, more efficiently, and with far less disruption to drivers traveling during this critical mountain corridor. So just a very quick article on that. We have just another minute or so. Comments, questions, check-ins. Last minute, please call now. And finally, over on the ARL.org page, arl.org/scholarship-program. Welcome and thank you for your interest in the ARL Foundation Scholarship Program for eligible amateur radio operators pursuing higher education. The ARL Foundation manages more than 150 scholarships established by generous donors ranging from $500 to $25,000. The ARL Foundation Scholarship Committee will review all applicants for eligibility and award decisions. All applicants must be an active FCC licensed amateur radio operators. All applicants must submit a completed online application. More information over on arl.org. Applications will be accepted through December 30th, 2025. If you're interested in pursuing higher education, this is an opportunity for some scholarships. With that, it's ticked over to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. We'll take any last-minute comments, questions, check-ins. Please call now. All right, one final call. Last minute check-ins, comments, questions for this evening's Learning Net. Otherwise, we'll start to wrap things up. Please call now.
0TX repeater.
Okay, nothing heard. We will start to then wrap the net up here. Can't thank enough for the Denver Radio Club for allowing us to use their repeaters. Appreciate everyone who's checked in. We had 10 check-ins this evening. Again, next week, the 19th, more information on our club website, w0tx.org. Again, restoring a 60-year-old Swan 500C transceiver by Bob Metzenbrink, NB0BN. It'll be in person as well as online. So more information, w0tx.org. Let's see. There should be an Elmers session, potentially at least online, at 6 p.m. And then 7 p.m. will be the presentation. Again, w0tx.org for more information. With that, this is K1DBC 7-3, and I will be clear. We'll talk to you soon.
In the heart of Colorado's North Park region, surrounded by the rugged beauty of the Rocky Mountains, a vital community asset in Walden, Colorado, just received a major upgrade.
Our runway really hadn't had a significant improvement in over 40 years. It's one of those assets you don't realize you don't have till you can't use it anymore. So we had a great collaborative effort with the state, DOLA, and Jackson County to repave our runway for our airport up here.
And people came together to celebrate an important milestone for one of Colorado's most remote and rural communities.
We're so fortunate to be here today to celebrate the reopening of our airport.
After months of hard work, 5,900 feet of newly constructed runway is now open, enhancing a critical lifeline for the Jackson County community.
I'm Jim Reiser, head of EMS here, and we utilize the airport quite often during the year. Every time we use it, it's for life and death.
More impactful for our community is the services it provides, especially in emergency medical services. But then even at a broader scale, this is a fantastic airport for wildfire protection, because we've had some of the most significant wildfires in the state's history in this area. And this serves as a great point for them to utilize for their equipment.
Unlike most airport reconstruction projects, this one was completed without any federal funding. Instead, this $5.7 million project was made possible through a partnership between the Colorado Division of Aeronautics, the Department of Local Affairs, and Jackson County. A collaboration that turned vision into reality.
There's many around the state, like Walden, Jackson County, that don't qualify for federal funding. So local officials have been working with the Division of Aeronautics for years in conjunction with Lochner, and the Department of Local Affairs came in with an absolute much-needed match to make this runway resurfacing project happen.
It's incredible that I'm going to say 99% of this project was funded by the state of Colorado, which is incredible.
The Colorado Division of Aeronautics was started for just these kinds of purposes.
This is exciting, right? At the Department of Local Affairs, we exist to strengthen local governments, and we're doing just that by the support we've provided here.
With the new runway open, the Walden-Jackson County Airport is ready to serve for decades to come, keeping Colorado's high country communities connected, safe, and ready to support the citizens and visitors of North Park, Colorado.
Our airport was in the worst condition of any airport in the entire state, and now we have a brand new runway thanks to the Division of Aeronautics, thanks to the Department of Local Affairs, that's going to serve us and serve this community for decades ahead.